in this world, having the misfortune being deceived by others, also one of the powerful trouble in this world. When people deceived by others, they have to suffer a lot. They get a lot of disturbances. They get a lot of troubles and sufferings because of such false speeches.
အလေးညာခံရတဲ့အတွက်အလှည့်စားခံရတဲ့အတွက်ကျူးတရားတွေပြည့်စည်ရတာမှာမြင့်မြင့်အားဖြင့်တော့လောကမှာအမှန်တရားကျင့်ရှားရုံမကပါဘူးလေလူကအစွမ်းထက်လို့ရှိရင်ထက်တော့အလေးခံရတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာမသက်သာတဏှာလုံးကိုပဲတချို့ရအောင်လေသွားဘယ်လောက်များညင်လာပြီးတော့နေရဆိုတော့စဉ်းစားကြည့်လို့ရှိရင်အဲ့လိုသင်ရှားပါတယ်ဒီသမိုင်းကြောင်းကြီးကြည့်လို့ရှိရင်လေမှာပတ်သက်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေနိုင်ငံမှာလေသွားတာဒီလိုဆိုပါတယ်
Because of act of cheating and deceiving, how much defect could be arise in this world, we ourselves can testify. As much the power of deceiving becomes stronger, so much the destruction will be there in people's life. Those people who have lot of skill in deceiving others, even they can take away others' nations, others' countries, others' whole possessions and properties. There are so many approved examples in the history of the world how those deceiving people could give difficulties to the world and to the nations and to the people. So therefore, deceiving or cheating is one of the harmful acts in this world.
အခုကဘာသာအယူဝါဒအမျိုးမျိုးတို့ရဲ့ဆရာမျိုးမျိုးတွေရဲ့တရားကြောင့်ဘုရားဘာသာတရားတော့ပါဘူးပေါ့ညောင်ရင်ဖန်ဆာပြီးတော့မကုန်နိုင်လောက်အောင်လို့ရှင်းရကိုလည်းပဲမှားလာလက်ပြီးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တိုင်းတွေ့ရပါတယ်ဘာသာအယူဝါဒလမ်းလွဲပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တစ်သက်လုံးတစ်ခါတည်းလွဲရတာတယ်မှန်ကန်လို့ရှိရင်တော့မှန်ကန်တော့ပေါ့လေလမ်းဆောင်ရောက်လို့ရှိရင်ဆန္ဒရဖို့လေးတွေအမှန်သိချပါတယ်လက်တွေ့ကျင့်သုံးလို့ရရှိတဲ့ဘာသာအယူဝါဒမျိုးပေါ့ကျင့်သုံးလို့လက်တွေ့ကျကျင့်သုံးလို့ဖြစ်နေတဲ့ဘာသာအယူဝါဒမျိုးဒါမျိုးကတော့တကယ်ကျင့်ကြည့်ရဲ့အပြည့်အဝနဲ့ကျင့်သုံးရတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့မှားကြရလို့မရှိပါဘူး
Even in the sphere of religion, there could be cheating, deceiving, because there are so many skillful orators who can twist and turn their languages, and they can misguide the people, deceive, showing the religious matters as the truthful aspects. So they can put all the worldly people in blind faith. If the worldly people cannot make their own judgment themselves, if they cannot use their understanding, use their experiential knowledges in such facts, then the people could be easily cheated and easily be deceived, and will be put in trouble and danger because of misguidance and leading towards the wrong way. So their whole life could be in danger. So therefore, it is necessary to try to have one's own experiential understanding about the religion which is the truthful one and which is not. Otherwise, we would be in great trouble, even though we are trying to find out the right way to have benefit from it in our life.
ကိုယ်တို့စိတ်ထားသုံးပါးလုံးစင်ကြယ်တန်ရှင်းပြီးတော့ရည်ကြည်စီနိုင်တဲ့အကျင့်မှအကျင့်ကောင်းမျိုးကတော့လူတိုင်းလိုက်နာရမယ်တရားပါပဲဘာသာအယူဝါဒအသီးသီးရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလိုက်နာရမယ်တရားပါပဲအဲဒီတရားကတော့အများနဲ့ပတ်သက်နေတာဖြစ်တော့ဘာသာရေးတရားလို့ဆိုဖို့ဆက်ပါတယ်ကွာလူကြီးအကျင့်ကောင်းမှုကိုယ်လုံးစိတ်ထားတန့်ရှင်းမှုအတွက်ပြရတဲ့ခါလေးတော့ဒါလေးတော့ဒီလိုပါစေအကျင့်ကြီးပါပဲစကြဝဠာအကျင့်ကြီးပါပဲဒီကြအနေနဲ့ကြင်ကြည်ချက်အရာခွဲပြီးတော့ပေါ့လေလိုရတဲ့ခါမျိုးမဟုတ်ပါဘူးဒီတစ်ပြည့်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီတိတော်ဘာဝနာတရားဒီလိုက်ဒီလိုက်ကျင့်လို့တရားပါဒီချင်းအနေနဲ့ကျင့်ရတဲ့တရားမျိုးမဟုတ်ပါဘူးဘာသာတရားရှိတဲ့အယူဝါဒရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလည်းကျင့်နေရတယ်ဘာသာအယူဝါဒမဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလည်းကျင့်နေရတယ်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မျိုးဘာသာမျိုးပါလေကျင့်လို့နေတယ်တရားဟောလို့ဒီဘာသာတရားလည်းဖြစ်အယူဝါဒတရားလည်းဖြစ်မလို့ပါဘူး
There are teachings. Through following the teachings, when people can control their unwholesome physical and verbal behaviors, they can purify easily through their own experiences how one can easily develop their wholesome physical and mental behaviors through following the teachings. And not only they can control their physical and verbal unwholesome behaviors, even they can understand how to purify them, how to keep them clear, not to have any kind of defect themselves as well as for others. Again, if they can train their mind to have real understanding through their own practices, through their own exercises and through their own realizations that the mind could be well trained and the mind could be purified well from all troublesome mental defects, and they could be really beneficial to the worldly beings. Such type of teachings we couldn't put in any list of religion. They are not bounded from the religious point of view. Those types of teachings, those types of practices should be practiced all the people, whatever religion they may belong. And the teaching would be beneficial for them if they do the practice, if they do the exercise, if they try to experience themselves. So therefore, there couldn't be any stamp for the religion in such teaching. The practice of Satipatthana meditation, Sayadaw says, is one of such type of practices. There is no any differentiation according to the worldly religions. Whatever religious person or he or she may be, he or she can get benefit from the practice of Satipatthana meditation. And that practice is there to have well-controlled physical, verbal and mental behaviors. Not only it can give the power of controlling all those behaviors, but even it can purify them totally, not to have any defect, again, if the practice is well fulfilled. So therefore Sayadaw says, such type of practice could be said the universal law or the universal conduct to give benefit and welfare to all the worldly beings without any differentiation about the religion.
ဘာသာယူဝါဒနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့အလေးညာခံရလို့အကြီးအကျယ်ကျိုးစီးပွားကြီးပြည့်ပြီးတော့ဆင်းရဲမှုတွေတွေ့နေရတာဖြစ်တော့ဘုဒ္ဓဝါဒမှာရှောင်ကျဉ်မှုသီလဟာတရားမှနှစ်ယောက်စသည်များပေါ့ကဘာသူကဘာသားရဲ့ဒုက္ခကိုစောက်ရှောက်ကာကွယ်ရရောက်တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့အဲ့လိုသင်ရှားပါတယ်
So therefore Sayadaw says, because of the various types of twisting, turning aspects even in the religion, and there are religious teachers who can cheat and deceive to the people using the sweet words. In this way, although the words are sweet and very listenable to the ear, but all sorts of difficulties hidden as the result in those sweet words and twisting, turning words. So therefore, how dangerous and how harmful the speech of lying or the false speech in this world, we can imagine or we can judge ourselves.
ဒီနေရာဌာနမှာတချို့ဘုရားဘာသာဝင်တွေကတော့တချို့တရားဟောဆရာတွေတရားပြဆရာတွေပေါ့ညာနေပုံကြီးညာမရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များလည်းပဲအဲ့ဒီဆ တရားညာတွေကိုအချင်းကြီးဘူးမကြာခဏလေးစားတယ်ဘာလဲကြုံရပါလေတော့ဒါတွေလည်းအထူးသဖြင့်ခြားဖို့သိကြပါတယ်
Even in this sphere of Buddhism, there are some teachers who are disguising themselves and propagating that they are giving the real teaching of the Buddha, but actually they are misguiding other people, just showing in the cover the words of the Buddha, and they are trying to deceive all the people. So in this way, there are even the people who say themselves they are Buddhists, but they could be cheaters and deceivers, and those people who follow them, and they will be well cheated and well deceived if they couldn't really understand the true teaching of the Buddha and true practice of the Buddha.
ဒီလိုလည်းပဲအတွေ့အခေါ်မျိုးစုံရောဆက်ထားတဲ့တရားတွေပဲဆိုပြီးတော့ဒီအပြောကောင်းအဟောကောင်းတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဘဝနဲ့လည်းဆွဲဟောလိုက်ဉာဏ်နဲ့လည်းဆွဲဟောလိုက်ကောင်းလို့ရတယ်ဆွဲဟောပြီးတော့ပေါ့လေလူကြိုက်ရအောင်လုပ်တာတွေလည်းပဲဒါတွေလည်းပဲသိရပါတယ်ကြားရပါတယ်ဒီမှာအဲဒါတွေလည်းပဲတတိထားဖို့သိကြည့်ရတာပါ
Again, there are some teachers who want to give some kind of tasteful taste to the people to gain attraction and to gain lot of followers. So they pick something from this practice, another thing from that practice, another thing from another practice. So in this way they mixed up everything and they try to show that the teaching is real teaching and the teaching is the beneficial teaching. So in this way they are using the technique of popery in trying the popery and showing the teaching as the real teaching. That is also another type of deceiving in the sphere of Dhamma practice.
ဒီမုဇာဝါဒဝိရတိသီလနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ပြောเสียရတော့တော်တော်များများရှိပါတယ်။ဒါပေမဲ့လို့ဒီလောက်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့တော်တော့ပါပြီ။ပြီးတော့မုဇာဝါဒဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဣသုနာဝါကျာပုသဝါကျာသမဗလာဝါဒါဒီလည်းထည့်ပြောပါပြည့်စုံပါပါ။ဒါလည်းနောက်ပိုင်းဒီ
Although there are so many aspects to deal with in connection with this false speech, but Sayadaw thinks this much is enough for at the moment. It is also necessary to include in the false speech other three unwholesome speeches such as slandering, harsh speech, and the frivolous talks. These also could be included within the boundary of false speech. Whenever Sayadaw will deal again with the right speech, he might get the time to explain again all these matters. Now Sayadaw would like to continue the aspect as the abstention from using drugs and drinks.
ဒီတည်းရဲ့တောက်စားသူဟာမိမိဘာသာတောက်ရုံတက်တက်ဖြစ်လို့ရှိရင်တော့မိမိဘာသာနောက်တော့အခါမျိုးမှာပေါ့ဒီမကောင်းကျိုးခံစားရုံမှာတပါအခြားသူတို့မှာလည်းပဲညစွာမထိခိုက်နိုင်သေးပါဘူး
one who just use the drinks and drugs himself or herself, there may not be such problem and trouble for others except having himself or herself.
သို့တော့အဲ့ဒီလိုမျိုးတောက်ရုံတက်တက်နဲ့အမြဲတမ်းတည်နေမှာမဟုတ်ပါဘူးမူးလာတဲ့အခါမှာမထိန်နိုင်တော့မိမိစိတ်လည်းမထိန်နိုင်ဘူးဆိုရင်တော့ကိုယ်လည်းမထိန်နိုင်နှုတ်လည်းမထိန်နိုင်လို့ရှိရင်တော့ဘုရားရှေ့သိတာကိုများကျူးလွန်ဖို့ရတော့ရှေ့ကဖြစ်သွားနိုင်ပါတယ်လွယ်လွယ်လေးအဲ့ဒီသိက္ခာပုဒ်တွေကိုကျူးလွန်လို့သိရပါတယ်
But when the intoxicating things used now and then, and they habituated in such act, later on, they are not only satisfied using themselves only, they would be there after having influenced by such intoxicating things. They can easily force to others to use the thing. Not only they may force to others to use the things, even they would be there to commit all sorts of other types of unwholesome acts to break whole 5 precepts. So they would be ready to break down the first precept, and they would be ready to harm or kill others, and they would be ready to steal others' property, to plunder others' property, to chase others' property, and even they would be ready to break down the social boundary of the conduct, and they never hesitate to use any kind of false speeches. So in this way, the 5th precept seems simple, but it could be the cause of various unwholesome activities. So therefore, the 5th precept can be taken as the foundation of all other unwholesome deeds.
ကာမတိပိစ္ဆာသာရကိစ္စတွေမှာအများကကဲ့ရဲ့ခံရတော့အောင်ကဲ့ရဲ့ဝင်ဖြစ်တော့အောင်ကျุလို့ရှိရင်ကာမတိပိစ္ဆာသာရကံနဲ့ကံဖြစ်ပေါ်တော့တည်ကြနေတယ်လို့ထို့တူပဲအာယု 5 ပါးရဲ့ကအခုယက်တိစာတောက်စားတယ်ဆိုတာယတာတခါပဲယတတနာခံပြီးတော့ဒီမှာဝိရတာပဲပြီးတော့လူချင်းကြော်ပြီးတော့ဗောလေကဲဝေကောင်းတော့အောင်ပဲပေါင်းအောင်ပါကြည့်ကျွတဲ့သဘောမျိုးတက်ရောက်နေတာဟုတ်လို့သဘောချင်းစင်တူတဲ့အတွက်သူ့ကိုလည်းတနည်းတစ်ပုံဗောလေကာမေစုမိတ်ချာကြတာကံနေပါဆံကံညာမှာထည့်ထားပါတယ်
When you break the 3rd precept and you use the illicit sexual misconduct, and as much you involve in that misdeed, so much you will get the criticism from other people and from the society. You will be blamed as a unwholesome person, and you will attach to it too much because of the pleasurable taste which you get in it. So Sayadaw says, in the same way, when you misuse the fifth precept because of the craving of taste, there are also same type of nature in the fifth precept as you could have in the third precept. Therefore, sometimes the teachers of the compilers of the religious text, they show the nature of the fifth precept similar with the third precept, and they combine the fifth precept in the third precept. As you can get the blaming, misusing the third precept, in the same way, if you really addicted in the fifth precept, you would be blamed and you would be criticized and you would be put down by the society as they do for the breaker of the third precept.
ရှိဘက်ကကျွလွန်မှုတွေလွယ်လွယ်နဲ့ကျွလွန်ရေးအတွက်ကြည့်ရောက်တဲ့နေရာနေပြီးတော့သူကအားပေးတာမဟုတ်လို့အကုန်လုံးကျွလွန်မှုတွေနဲ့လည်းပဲဒီသုဒ္ဓမေရရဲ့ပါဝင်နေတယ်တက်ဆိုင်နေတယ်လို့ဆိုပါ
In another way, Sayadaw says, because of the overwhelming power of the fifth precept, breaking of fifth precept, and when they addicted in that unwholesome act, they can commit any kind of other unwholesome deeds. They can break all other precepts. So therefore, the fifth precept could be combined with all those other four precepts also, and they could be put in each and every breaking precept list.
ဒီကြတဲ့ဥပမာတစ်ခုဆောက်ရမယ်ဆိုရင်လောကမှာအလွန်လဲပတ်တဲ့လူတစ်ယောက်ဟာတမှုကိုမှုကာမမှုအစရှိတဲ့ကြီးလေးတဲ့ရာဇဝမှုကြီးတွေကိုတစ်စုံတစ်ခုမျှကိုယ်တိုင်မပြုပါဘူးသို့တော်သူဤဘက်သားတွေပေါ့ဒီဘက်သားတွေကိုတော့ကြာနာနာနိပိလမ်းပြတော့လုပ်နေကြရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒီလိုလုပ်လို့ရာဇဝမှုကြီးပေါ်ပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကြာနာနာနိပိလမ်းပြတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာပေတီခနံပါတ်တီခနံပါတ်ဘာတမလဲဆိုတာကိုစဉ်းစားကြလို့ပါ
To make it clear, Sayadaw would like to stress an example. Suppose there is a person who is not committing all the criminal acts himself, but because of his cleverness and skillfulness, he has plenty of followers to perform all those criminal acts in the place of that clever person. And he has given well training to his followers. He has guided them how to commit all sorts of crimes, and he used those people to break the law in various ways. So in this way, he is there to use all other people to commit all sorts of crime and to break the law. But unfortunately, when those criminals were caught, when the government will try to get the actual criminal, and they will use various ways to check and to try to reach to the high stage of the criminals. Eventually, who will be the first person to get the punishment when the government know real person who was acting behind is the one who is the gang leader. Whether the gang leader will get the severe punishment in the end or his followers.
အဲ့ဒီလူတွေဟာသူကိုယ်တိုင်မလုပ်ပေမဲ့လို့ကိစ္စအရရမှာနီးပေလမ်းပြကောင်းဆောင်နေရာကဆောင်ရနေတာမဟုတ်လို့ကိုယ်တိုင်လုပ်သူများတဲ့ကြောက်မဲ့ဖွယ်ရာကောင်းပါလေကိုယ်တိုင်လုပ်သူများတဲ့ပဲသူများကိုပုံမှုပြီးတော့ရှင်းအောင်ပြုလုပ်နိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာကိုအလွန်ထင်ရှားပါတယ်
Although the gang leader didn't do anything himself, but he just give the guidance and show the way how to commit the crimes, and other people were committing all sorts of crime. But when the punishment will be there, the severe punishment will go to the gang leader, because he was the person who were the main source to have all sorts of criminal acts. So therefore, the government also will give severe punishment to that gang leader, not the actual crime committers. So therefore, it is obvious that although the fifth precept is not committing all those other unwholesome acts, but it could be the source to have all sorts of unwholesome deeds. So therefore, Sayadaw would like to compare the fifth precept as the gang leader.
ကဘာသူကဘာသားတွေဘယ်လောက်ဒုက္ခပေးလဲဆိုတာအားလုံးသိကြပါလေ
So therefore Sayadaw says, although the other precepts also could create trouble and dangers in this world, and they are also harmful, but compared to the fifth precepts, they are not so much harmful. When a person becomes drunkard, when a person becomes drug addicted, how he can act in this world to give lot of troubles, to create various problems, to invent all sorts of suffering in this world, we have the examples nowadays everywhere in this world. Those drunkards and those drug addicted people are doing all sorts of criminal acts. They are ready to kill, they are ready to steal, they are ready to break the third precept, and they are using various false speeches. In this way, they are not only creating danger themselves, but they are creating all sorts of dangers in this world. Even they can kill their parents, they can steal all sorts of properties, and they can use all sort of means to fulfill their desire and to fulfill their wishes. So, all the parents are familiar with such teenager children, how dangerous they are for the families, how dangerous they are for the society, and how dangerous they are for the world. So this example is sufficient for us to clearly see the harmfulness of breaking of fifth precept or becoming drunkards and drug addicted.
ဒါကြောင့်သုရပါဏဝိတ္တိသီလဟာသီလလည်းပဲမိမိအိမ်သူအိမ်သားမှစပြီးတော့ကဘာသူကဘာသားတွေအထီပေါ်တယ်ရှင်းရပြီအဖြစ်ကစင်စစ်ကဲတင်ရာရောက်နိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာဟောဒီမှန်မှတွေးဆက်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေကတော့လက်ခံလို့ရတော့သိကြပါလေ
So therefore, Sayadaw says there are plenty of examples, ancient stories, present stories, and other proofs to explain and to illustrate. Even we can put our eyes on the government sides in this world. In each and every country there are strong effort arousing in this world to prevent and to stop the drug and to stop the drinking process. And there are various rules and regulations prescribed to punish the drug addicted people. So in this way, how dangerous the fifth precept for this world, we can easily reflect, seeing all these various aspects.
အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ငါးပါးသီလနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့အစီအစဉ်ကြီးအရအခြားသောအာဇီဝဓမ္မကသီလအတ္တင်ကဥပစရိကသီလစသည်တွေအကျိုးကိုဟောဒီစဉ်းစားကြည့်စမ်းပါအဲ့ဒီအကျိုးပြည့်ကိုသိသိလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာဒီကဘာလုံးငါးပါးသီလလုံချုံနေလို့ရှိရင်ဒီကဘာလုံးချမ်းသာမယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းကောင်းကောင်းသင်ရှားတာမဟုတ်လို့ငါးပါးသီလတစ်မျိုးနဲ့ပဲဒါနထက်တာလုံမြင့်မြတ်ကြောင်းသင်ရှားပါပြီဆိုတာပေါ့လေဒီကိစ္စနားလည်ကြပါလေ
So in this way, seeing the benefit of the observance of fifth precepts, we can again try to see the benefits of 8 precepts, including the right livelihood and the real 8 precepts and all other 10 precepts, how much beneficial they may be. If all the worldly beings could follow the 5 precepts and keep them as their precious property, then how much benefit they can give to the world and the worldly beings. The wise people can see all these advantages and wholesome consequences just observing the 5 precepts. So therefore, Sayadaw says to have peace and happiness, to have comfortable and bliss in this world, even just observance of 5 precepts is sufficient for the people. And we can also easily compare with the generous act. Compared to the generous act, the observance of 5 precepts is greater. They can give more benefit to the worldly beings. There are most of the people who have one-sided view. They think world could be peaceful if they can provide sufficient necessary worldly aspects to the worldly beings. So therefore they are trying to fulfill the world outwardly things and trying to provide to the worldly people as the generous act. They perform the generosity even though the world is not in good condition. They couldn't subside all those problems and troubles and sufferings in this world. And Sayadaw thinks that is because of lack of understanding of precepts. As they understand to gain the peace and happiness and so to solve the worldly problems through generosity, if they also understand it is also important to have moral behavior to gain real peace and happiness in this world, and if they try to provide all the worldly beings to observe the precept, not many precepts, just only 5 precepts, then they can see how much benefit they will get in this world. So therefore, Sayadaw says, if the UNO people can see all these aspects and can understand the benefit of the precepts together with the generous act, they might be able to subside all sorts of problems in this world.
ဒါကြောင့်မိမိကိုယ်တိုင်နဲ့သက်ဆိုင်ရာအားလုံးမှာပေါ့လေငါးပါးသီလပြည့်စုံတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးလုံခြုံတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးဖြစ်အောင်တတိထူးဆောင်ပြီးတော့တတ္တဝါများအပေါ်မှာပေါ့လေသူရဲ့အကျိုးစီးပွားလိုလားတဲ့ချစ်ချင်းမေတ္တာသူဆင်းရဲမှုကိုပယ်ရှားလိုတဲ့ကျင့်သားတဲ့ကရုဏာပေါ့လေဒီတရားတွေကြကြထားနိုင်ကြလို့အပ်ပါတယ်
So therefore Sayadaw says, all the people who understand these facts, then they should try to develop within themselves to possess pure, clear love and to fill with compassionate heart, try to observe the precepts and try to be generous people. So in this way, gradually, we can provide that source through which the world could be kept in peace, happiness, bliss, and the world could be fearless world through performing all these wholesome acts.
ဒီတော့မေတ္တာကုသိုလ်ကြီးပွားတဲ့ဤအလေးစားလေးရအောင်လို့ဘုန်းကြီးတို့ယောဂီတွေပွားကြည့်ကြပါစို့သဗ္ဗေသတ္တအဝိရာဟောတိအပြယဝိဇ္ဇာဟောတိအနိဗ္ဗာန်ဟောတိသုခိအတ္တနာတိဟာရတိတော်အဲဒီနေ့လည်းချပြီးတော့
So Sayadaw says that to make habit and exercise, how we should try to fill the loving feeling ourselves and try to spread them and pervade them to all the people. Sayadaw would like to do the practice now, so therefore Sayadaw says, let us try to spread our loving feeling just to have wholesome thought in our heart. So therefore, please, all the yogis, spread their loving feeling towards all the worldly beings and try to use mentally, as I will say the words in Pali first, later on I will try to translate it in your language. Sabbe satta awera onto abhyapajja hontu anigha hontu sukhi attanang pariharantu sabbe satta awera hontu abhyapajja hontu anikha hontu sukhi attanang pariharantu sabbe satta awera hontu abhyapajja hontu anikha hontu sukhi attanang pariharantu. May all the worldly beings, please do it mentally, just I will try to translate it. All the worldly beings be free from enmity, be free from physical pain, be free from be free from mental pain. May they be able to carry themselves with happiness. May all the worldly beings be free from inner and outer enemies. May they be free from physical pain. May they be free from mental pain. May they be able to carry on themselves with happiness. May all the worldly beings be free from inner and outer enemies. May they be free from physical pain. May they be free from mental pain. May they be able to carry on themselves with happiness. To have the exercise and habit, Sayadaw says, let us try to do the loving kindness practice for 1 minute.
minutes keep who are showing me Shipadilla, Azua Tamagadilla, the piece of Vida. Tetaja the things about the Atari of Pua. Minty being a video. Kuiku, Piayote, and you had ever mini Kuya. Navadilla is a luncho. You mean that you have Navadilla luncho on what? But he paid her here, Usan her here. That one for how to do it, just you want to love it. Mita Tati, Kuna Tati, Shandy, Toba Ninja, Juza from your teacher was to take the
So we have already completed 1 minute practicing the loving kindness meditation. In this way, gradually trying to fulfill the 5 precepts, 8 precepts including the right livelihood, and other 8 precepts, 10 precepts, observing the benefit of all these precepts and trying to have the purity of physical and verbal activities, to have purity of mind, try to do the Satipatthana meditation practice until you will get satisfaction in it and you will see the actual benefit of it here in this retreat place. And whenever you will go back to your own home, own place, try to keep yourself all those practices in your everyday life, in your mind and in your heart, as well as try to teach all these wholesome practices to your families and try to make them do the practice and see the benefit yourself together with your families, as well as may you be able to have a real loving feeling towards the otherworldly beings. May you be successful to create bliss in this world, wishing in this way the wholesome wish. Sayadaw says he would like to stop the discourse for today.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, morning.